Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. As always, shout out to the 19. Apologies if I sound low energy on this one. I am absolutely wiped out right now. Migraines are not fun. I don't recommend them, but let's talk about the Indiana Fever against the Brazilian national team. Yes, caveat, it was not fair. That being said, when you look at what Chicago did to them versus what Indiana did to them, Chicago won, I think, what, 89-64. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was in that range. Indiana had 70 points at halftime. And then, of course, they dialed it back. Everyone was able to get minutes. Dantas was a coach's decision, nope, not playing. I'm sure that was something, I don't know. They haven't put it out there. Obviously, it's not her ability, and she's going to be on the team. Everyone played a lot, relatively speaking. We take a look at this. You can see that the Aaliyah Boston was the only Fever starter to hit 20 minutes, so the rest of them were all in their teens. Brianna Turner was the only player who played that got less than 10. She only played 7 minutes. Grabbed 4 rebounds, by the way, in those 7 minutes, so, kudos to her. But a couple of things that stood out, and I want to go over a few things. I want to show one play I definitely want to show you. Well, a few, but one play I want to point out that's kind of indicative of what this team looks like now, and the difference with Caitlin Clark on the court, because she elevates the play of everyone around her. She's not just a great player. She's one of those rare great players that makes everyone else better. Just look at these numbers, folks. Bonner, 3 of 4. Howard, 4 of 5. Boston, 4 of 9. By the way, Aaliyah's played really well. I expect some big assist numbers from her. I think that's her biggest strength, her passing and basketball IQ from the center position, and with the weapons around her now. She made some big time passes. I think it was a backdoor. Oh no, I'm going to get the blonde Bombers confused. I think it was the Sophie, not Lexi, but Lexi's always in that corner. But I think it was the Sophie who went backdoor in the baseline. And Aaliyah Boston threw her an absolute dime of a beautiful pass. There was another time where it got in and she reversed it to Hull in the opposite corner. Fantastic. The one thing that drives me nuts, just like layups drive people nuts with Lexi Hull, which I get. To be fair, Lexi does have some difficulty level layups that she takes, but is Boston missing not just layups, but too many bunnies around, too many, I won't even call them bunnies, just in that 5 to 6 foot range, she's got to make more of those, right? 4 of 9. Mitchell, 5 of 8, 4 of 6 from three. Clark, 6 of 10, 4 of 6 from three. Yes, the Splash Sisters, the Wonder Twins, 8 of 12 from three, 17 points and 16 points, and they played 18 and 19 minutes. There is your all WNBA first team back court. Shout out Michaela Timpson as well. She played 10 minutes. She was fantastic in that 10 minutes, did a little bit of everything, had a great steal where she just picked pocket. She picked up full court a few times on one of them. She picked a pocket of the player, went in for a wide open layup. 2 of 4, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 9 points in 10 minutes, a steal, a block. Um, I could tell on that steal, and then she got in ahead. She was so far ahead for that layup. You could see the wheels turning in her brain, the way she slowed down and babied it. She's like, I can't miss this. I can't miss this. I can't miss this. I get that feeling. I understand, Michaela, when you're that wide open, it's like, man, you'd rather be under a little bit of pressure. But anyway, Jim also good, 3 of 5 in 12 minutes. Aline played well, 7 rebounds in 10 minutes. Colson, she didn't shoot well, but she played well. She had 5 assists out there. She had a fantastic look like Caitlin. She had a fantastic behind the back pass on a fast break. A shout out to Sydney on that. That was great. That was entertaining to watch. Sophie and Lexi didn't play a lot, 11 and 10, which I completely understand after they played, I believe, the most minutes, 34 and 33. The night before, so I get why they'd be dialed back. Jalen Brown didn't shoot well, but I thought she played well. Little bit of everything. Couple of rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals, and a block in only 15 minutes. Bree Hall put up 4 of 9 in her 16 minutes. So it was a team effort. The first half, of course, was absolutely phenomenal, which is when the starters got most of their minutes. Um, 70 points on, I think I said 41 shots, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was a 1.67 points per shot efficiency. By the way, I think Asia Wilson might have been tops in the league last year, at least for players where you'd say they play a certain number of minutes worth, and I think she was at like 1.35, 1.36, something like that. Caitlin was at 1.32, I believe. So a team for a half at 1.67. The other thing, if you take a look, 39 to 78. Okay. I did a video on the shots for this team. I think they averaged 67 and a half last year, and they were third in the league, I believe. So, right. So there's that up tempo that we talked about. They are actually playing that up tempo for sure. But you know what? One thing I really noticed too, just in these two games, and I know they're getting to know each other and all that. I get all the caveats, but the rest of the team are they're better passers looking for more things when Caitlin's on the court. Like she's just infectious in that way. I noticed every time that the Fever get a defensive rebound, there's a wing, folks. I don't mean just like Kelsey Mitchell getting out there, but you know whether it's Cunningham, Hull, Howard, Bonner, they are getting out. They're like, I'm going to get ahead because Caitlin can hit me with that pass. Head up. They're all looking for it. Caitlin's looking for it. Um, it's going to be interesting, and I wanted to show you this one because this is just sort of indicative of the team, right? This type of ball movement. We check this out. There's Caitlin. Boom, here comes the double. Great pass to the wing. Look at the spacing. Boom, boom, by the way. And Sophie gets fouled here. That is just the type of play that this Fever team can make this season that they couldn't make last season. They just couldn't do this. I mean, you watch that. Let me see if I can run this back for you. Oh, come on. I want to go back it up. So they go to double, right? So now that, and I get why they would double there, but look at the spacing, right? We've got her in the corner and she knows, look, they already know that pass is going. And when you move like that and you have that many players that can make plays, which they didn't have last year, I don't care how good you are defensively, you just can't rotate with them that quickly. And you saw by those passes, they already knew before they caught it that it was going to the next player. And they've got the players now that can make those passes and also make those shots. And there was a lot of that. Like it's just a completely different team now with the pieces they got, but also even with the pieces, it's a completely different team with Caitlin Clark out there. And two huge things that stuck out for me. Um, and it was reinforced by Stephanie White during the in-game interview where she said she wasn't happy with how they were getting it going in transition, which, as you know, if you've been around a while, I just keep talking about how this team has to run, run, run. So I loved hearing that. They seem to be running a lot. Again, they took 78 shots, which is 11 more than they averaged per game last season. But it's not just that. They're good shots. They're getting good shots. And then also there's more pressure defensively, even picking up full court at times. And I love that as well. You've probably heard me talk about at some point or another Nolan Richardson's, back in the 80s, 40 minutes of hell. Arkansas was always running, but they weren't just always running. They were picking up full court defensively a lot and constantly pressuring the other team. So they had no breather offensively or defensively. And we're seeing a little bit of that with the Indiana Fever, and I absolutely love it because one of my worries with Steph was that they would focus too much on defense, and the way she coached this with the Sun is I worried about the freedom from in the offense in terms of reining that in a little too much. And it's early, but I haven't seen it yet. And for me, you can be good defensively and still light it up offensively, still have that offensive freedom, especially when you have the depth that the Indiana Fever have. They have that depth. Bonner and Howard, these vets, they're not going to need to play more than 20, 22, 25 minutes a game. And I don't say that because I don't think they're good or that they shouldn't. It's because with the depth of this team and them being the older vets that they are, they can do it. It's a long season, right? You got 44 games and the playoffs. They're going to be energized and ready to run when they're on the court, and they're going to be energized and ready to run when playoffs roll around. So it's absolutely fantastic with the depth that you have that option. Now, there'll be games they might play a lot just because of the situation, but they can get that rest, and that matters in a long season. Kelsey Mitchell, she looked good today. She looked, I mean, yesterday, really, really good, and not just shooting, although she shot fantastically. She just looked better overall to me, more under control in this game. I think part of that is Caitlin Clark. I think Caitlin kind of has a calming effect on Kelsey. Once Kelsey got comfortable with Caitlin last year, they figured out how to play together. It just changed her game. 17 points on 8 shots is absolutely insane. Is absolutely insane. Um, as a team, again, going back to the defense, not just that picking up full court, but there were some great defensive rotations that we didn't see last year, obviously. They were much better defensively in the half court. Caitlin Clark is playing better defense as well. Um, and then offensively, also, she showed she did pump fake on the three because, of course, she got a closeout on her on the three. She got in and made the floater in the lane. There was another play similar to the one I showed you, Sophie to Clark to Mitchell to Boston. Boom, 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 boom. It is the 80s Showtime Lakers reincarnated. They now reside in Indiana, and it's not in the NBA, it's in the WNBA. And it's just simply a different vibe for the entire team. A couple other things. Inbound plays look a lot better. They're a lot different. I mean, one that was so simple but stood out to me is there's inbound Clark to Sid. Sid taken out on the side in the offensive end. Sid came across the court to get the short pass from Clark. Clark steps into the court. Sid gives it back and he hits the three. Reminded me very much of effective soccer throw-ins. You know, no one's looking at that person throwing it in, right? They throw it in to a teammate's feet to be able to volley right back to them as they step on the pitch. Similar thing, right? Caitlin throws it in, so the defense is focused on that. Not that you're not paying attention to Caitlin, but it was different. It's not the type of stuff we saw from Christy Sides at all last year. As I mentioned, Michaela Timpson looked great. She's clearly going to make this team, going to be the steal of the draft. You know me, I'm a contrarian, but I got to go with the consensus on this. She is going to be an important part of this team. I think she's going to play more and more as the season progresses. She's not just going to be that 11th player. Like I said, even she picked up full court. She had amazing pickpocket play, went in for a breakaway layup. I think she's going to get some major minutes later in the season. Shout out. I think I mentioned it already, but I'm going to do it again anyway. Shouting out Sydney Colson on that behind the back pass. I've talked about Boston as a passer and her game IQ. She showed that a lot again today. I think she's going to be even more effective this season and with the weapons around her, and she's going to have some big assist games. Her finishing, again, I mentioned already, her finishing concerns me a little bit in that 5, 6 foot range. Hopefully that comes along, but her passing is phenomenal. That's an extra weapon for sure. Again, first half, 70 points, 41 shots, a team PPS of 1.67. Absolutely insane. And I get it was Brazil, caveat, but it's still 108-44. And hitting those shots and getting all those open shots and making them is a thing, right? You're still shooting that shot. And it wasn't going in. I think they generated a lot of quality shots the game before. They just simply weren't dropping. I mean, they were 15 for 33 from three. Come on. Uh, and hopefully they're getting a good start to the season instead of the insane 11 games in 20 days. They've got 11 games in 32. So I think that's fantastic. Couple of things I do want to show just for fun to start the game. We had sorry, I'm trying to make sure I have the right thing here. Yeah, okay. See that, want to roll it back, roll it back. This is the opening bucket of the game. Of course, we're just going to set a double screen and get the crowd fired up, and Caitlin just nails that three. And then we had, I believe this was her last shot towards the end of the third. Comes up, comes up behind the 22 that is on the court where she broke Kelsey Plum's record, which is already in the next zip code over. She's going to actually be behind that by a good 3 feet and drill that shot. Yeah, so you can imagine the uproar that happened there. And so bring it in, step back. This is insane. 36 feet, folks. That's what they measured that at. 36 feet. Oh man. So anyway, I feel like I'm putting everyone to sleep. I'm sorry, I'm exhausted. Um, but like I said at the beginning, the offense is just different with Clark on the court. The spacing, the players that they have available, the weapons that they have, what they do. This is going to be a very, very difficult team to defend. And with speaking of the difference Caitlin makes, I don't know if anyone knows this. I probably talked about it at some point. Indiana, I believe, led the league in efficiency last year. Think about that. Erica Wheeler, Christy Wallace, Katie Loon, Alyssa Smith. Now it's Dewana Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham. It's a different team, guys. It is a really, really a different team. Caitlin Clark being on the court makes everyone better. One other thing. Look, Caitlin Clark is the front runner for MVP. It is her to lose. Anyone saying differently is an idiot, a liar, not a basketball fan, or a combination of all three. But I'm gonna leave it there. I've got some other stuff to say in some other videos. I gotta get some rest and get my energy back. Thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, really, really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.